Yes. Liverpool have done it. They've beaten Man City by 1-0 at Anfield today. And what a performance. This was more of a throwback to last year. This was the level of performance that we know Liverpool are capable of. We just haven't seen it, or at least seen it enough this year. So the team deserves so much praise. This was Man City's first defeat of the season. And overall, Liverpool thoroughly deserved their 3 points. And you could tell from that first minute that the focus of the whole team was on a different level than we've seen so far this season. Players were immediately switched on. It was a proper start. And we didn't go behind first for, I think it was the previous 10 of the last 12 games we'd gone behind first. But we stayed solid, we stayed focused in that first half, and that was so important against a really, really strong City side. But that just shows you the team can do it. We can start games with the right level of intensity. And now it's just a matter of replicating that, making sure that the mindset of the players is in the right place starting games. Has to be the standard going forward. In terms of the ways both sides set up, small surprises on each side, I would say. City started out with 3-5-2, so 3 at the back with 2 wing-backs, and it was Foden and Cancelo. And Liverpool played what was essentially a 4-4-2, but Nunez dropped out of the starting lineup, even though he has scored in his last 2 games. And Klopp played Salah at the tip of that, with Firmino playing behind. And I do understand why. Look, Salah scored a hat-trick against Rangers, and he looked electric when he was closer to the goal. He just looked like the old Salah. And to be honest, he continued that form today. It was an excellent performance from him. First half, though, was really... Defensively, Liverpool were very good. We closed down space as well, limited City to just a few half chances. But on the ball, there was a lot to be desired, I would say. It reminded me quite a bit of last season's game at Anfield against City, where it was 0-0 at half-time and then 2-2 at full-time. In that game as well, we really struggled to build consistently through the midfield. City played a much higher press than we did in that first half. They had almost a 6-man press. They were letting us keep it with the goalkeeper and the 2 centre-backs. But then everyone else was being pushed up on. Thiago had no space in midfield. He couldn't consistently get on the ball. Fabinho couldn't consistently get on the ball. And I think City took advantage of the fact that we didn't have Matip in there, who's good at incisive passing through or to the midfield and dribbling out from the back. And Liverpool, of course, didn't have Trent at right back. And he's the perfect solution to a really high press because he can play quality balls over the top, beat that press, and then release players into space consistently. So we didn't have him as an out ball. And I think City took advantage of it. We found it really hard to put passes together. Having said that, once we got through, there were a few nice moments up front, and we did create a couple half chances ourselves. But overall, I was a bit frustrated in the first half. I felt like we could have used the ball a lot better. City having the 3 centre-backs and 2 double pivots with Rodri and Bernardo Silva, it always meant that with our 2 forwards and 2 wide players, we really had a 4-man press generally, sometimes being supported by the 2 midfielders. But they always outnumbered us. They always had 5, the 3 and the 2, whereas we had the 4 forward. So City were able to build through to the midfield a lot better than Liverpool in the first half. Second half, though, different story. Both sides came out with a lot more attacking intent. And Liverpool, I think, played a little bit more like Liverpool sides played against Pep earlier in Klopp's career, where we really sat back, tried to be solid, and then hit them on the counter-attack. And to be honest, we did it extremely well, carved out multiple really high-quality, clear-cut chances. And that's why it used to be so hard for Pep to play Klopp, because we had the personnel that were perfect for counter-attacking situations. The problem is, generally speaking, Liverpool dominate games and teams don't play a high line against us. So we don't really get the chance that often to utilise our counter-attacking strengths. But in that second half, Liverpool sat back more, City had much more of the ball, but we looked so much more dangerous. And that's reflected by the expected goals. Liverpool had about a 2 in terms of expected goals, and City only had 0.91. It would be very interesting to see when was the last time City had such a low expected goals number. And that's credit to Liverpool and how they defended in this game. And that brings us on nicely to who Liverpool's best performers of the day were. The whole back line were exceptional. It was so good to see Robbo back. I mean, Tsimikas has been a very able stand-in. But when Robbo is playing like this, I mean, yeah, he's head and shoulders above Tsimikas. His overall game, his physicality, his intensity, he was up for it today, and he was excellent. The two centre-backs for Liverpool, brilliant. Van Dijk has had a lot of criticism this year for being below his normal standards. But it felt like he was out on a mission today. He wanted to show he could tie up Haaland, that he could be one of the few defenders who have been able to stop Haaland scoring this season. And he did it. He didn't put a foot wrong all game. And you could tell he was constantly shouting, organising that line. A real strong leader's performance from Van Dijk today. Next, you have Joe Gomez. And I was really disappointed when I saw Konate was injured for this game because I thought his strength and physicality would have been very good against Haaland. And Gomez, to be honest, this season at centre-back, he's generally played well, but he's been very error-prone and he's made high-profile mistakes that have led to key chances for the opposition. But today, Gomez was top class. Reminded me back to the Gomez of a few seasons ago when we won the league. When Liverpool won the Premier League, Gomez started nearly all those games. He has it in him to be a top player. But injury has kind of got in the way of that. But today, didn't put a foot wrong. Was excellent. Covered really well with Milner on the right-hand side. Won all his challenges. Positionally strong. Won headers. Competed well with Haaland when needed. Great performance from Gomez. And I'm really, really happy for him that he was able to deliver on this big stage. The next brilliant performer for Liverpool was James Milner. And I'm almost a little bit surprised to hear myself say that. Last season at Anfield, Foden had Milner on toast. He was skinning him continuously. And again, when I heard Konate was injured, it meant Gomez was going to go into the centre, which meant Milner was going to have to play right back. And I got to say, I was worried. But Milner stuck to Foden like glue today. He was so tight. He, again, didn't put a foot wrong. Was brilliant against him. Won all his 50-50s. Positionally good as well. Very intense performance from Milner. He was hell-bent. He was so focused on making this performance a strong one against Foden. What happened to him last year was not happening to him again today. The only time Foden actually got space against his man was when Trent came on as a fifth man at the back and Milner sort of dropped in almost as a third centre-back. That was the only time Foden actually spun past Trent and got space for a cross, which says it all. Milner kept him quiet the entire game. Moving further up the pitch, Jota had a great game as well. I think he won the ball back 5 times in that game. He worked so hard up and down that left-hand side. He provided a good outlet going forward and showed good running and good pace. He's always been good at progressing with the ball. I think that's one of his key strengths. He runs with the ball very quickly. The only negative I would say for Jota was there were a few times when he got in key forward positions and his touch let him down. His heading is usually really, really strong. But he missed 2 good chances today with his head, in particular the one in the second half when Salah played it in outside the left foot. He was totally open at the far post. Put his header wide. He should have opened the scoring for Liverpool at that point. But overall, he had a very, very good game. And it's probably the one blemish on the game that Jota got stretchered off in the second half towards the end of the game. I hope it's not too serious because with Diaz out, we really, really need Jota. And he's been looking like a good option on that left-hand side. The problem is, though, there was no one around him when he went down. It looked like he might have jarred his knee or something. And a lot of the time when you see players get injured in kind of innocuous situations with no one around them, it's usually not too good. But fingers crossed from hopefully it's not too bad. Then let's move on to Salah. This was the Salah of last season. He was up for this game. Great work rate. And I think the lesson is really He was becoming too isolated on that right-hand side in prior games. We've noticed that he's been further out in the touchline, further from the goal, and that's probably a large contributor to the fact that he hasn't really scored that many goals this season. He hasn't been getting as many chances. He hasn't been taking as many shots. But today, he looked really, really good. Should have opened that scoring when he got through on goal, one-on-one against Edison in the second half. Now, to be fair, Edison made an incredible save. He got down really, really well to touch that ball wide, but you still would have put your money on Salah scoring when one-on-one in that situation. He also could have squared the ball to Jota, who had an open goal. But Salah, bulletproof in the head, he had the same opportunity a few minutes later. He brilliantly spun Cancelo just past the halfway line, got one-on-one with Edison again, and this time Salah makes no mistake. Quality finish, and Anfield just erupts. I was going nuts. Fair play to Salah. He was the standout player up front anyway. And in the rest of that second half, he was holding up the ball well, even though he was getting fouled continuously. I don't know what he used to do to get a free kick. It seems like every defender was pulling off him, hanging off him, and they seemed to get away with it. But he kept finding space, showed strength, good running, was a constant threat. It was vintage Salah today, and we really need him to keep this up. Nunez came on and did pretty well. He showed some good running, beat some players for speed. He shows that when he has space to dribble into, he looks a real threat. He's a handful. And it's maybe similar to why part of the reason for that is because City were playing probably similar to how Liverpool would have played against Benfica last year when Nunez looked so good against particularly Konate and Matip. When he's obviously very suited to playing against a high line and a team that's trying to push forward when he has more space to run into behind. But as much of a threat as he was at times, and he had some good running, he made a few really poor decisions on the ball. In one situation, Liverpool it was almost a 3v1. Nunez had the ball out on the left-hand side. Salah was in acres of space on the right. All he had to do was turn inside and play it into Salah. He would have been through on goal. But he kept trying to move forward, then cut into where all the congested City players were, and took a shot that got blocked. It was a very bad decision, to be honest. There was another one where he skinned his man. He's out wide, and he tried to play it across to Trent at the far post. It was a little bit too far, and to be fair, a bit unlucky, but Carvalho was about 6 yards away, loads of space, would have had a guaranteed shot on target. So again, just get your head up and play the right pass. He definitely still helped us hold the ball up a bit more though, and provide that threat in behind and that pace when City were really pressing forward and making it difficult for Liverpool. Overall, though, the whole team played well. In terms of focus, concentration, discipline, work rate, it was all there. We've shown this is proof this team can still do it. They've been written off for so many reasons this season. Now, what's next? We need to keep it going. We're back into the top half. I think we're up to about 8th. 6 points behind Chelsea in 4th. 7 behind Spurs if we win our game in hand. There's a lot of work still to be done. But this team, if we put a run together, we're certainly capable of making up the points, and we really need Champions League this year. So this can't just be a flash in the pan with this kind of focus and this kind of commitment. It has to be repeated against West Ham on Wednesday at Anfield. Overall, though, I feel buzzing after this game. Just to know we've still got it in us. We can still put out performances like that. But this is a huge win for confidence. This just brings that feel-good factor back and just is a huge reminder of what we're capable as a team. Make sure to subscribe if you want to get notified for future videos. And let me know in the comments below, what did you think about Liverpool's win today against Man City? Were you expecting it? I'll see you in the next one.